The workshop, which is being held under the theme Parenting, the Cornerstone of Development, is organized by the Ministry of Human Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation with the support of the United Nations Children's Fund. According to Leanne Arthurs, the Acting Director of Human Services, parents are being faced with increasing challenges in caring for their children and ensuring maximum development, and that is why government is facilitating the countrywide mapping.
When we looked at what are some of the challenges, we have to look at the issues of poverty, we have to look at the issues of absentee fathers, single parent households, and so how do our families cope with these realities that they're living in? Because as we all know that parenting in itself, that none of us were given a handbook when we had children. And so in itself, it's challenging. You could have a family with various children within that same family that brings different issues. So that alone is a strain on families, much less to deal with those other issues. And so we wanted to kind of look at how do we get creative, how do we get innovative in kind of helping these families to do this enormous task.
Priscilla Brown Lopez is in the working committee for the parenting workshop, and it took her and her team almost 2.5 months to collect the information which is being shared during the workshop. She believes that parenting is important in the development of a child.
Unless we address the parenting issues in the country, as an educator, we will face challenges. I have visited schools where teachers have opened their drawers and have shown that parents don't come for report cards, they're not supporting their children. I'm sure it's not that to some extent that they don't want to come, but they don't, perhaps to some extent, don't understand the importance of supporting children. We have not stopped in all that we've been doing to provide the support and to scaffold them, to guide them to do what they need to do to the best of their ability. The strengths of this workshop will be that we've looked at all the areas that must be addressed if this is to work. And one of the presentations will be on monitoring mechanisms. So even as we develop a structure, how will we assess whether these activities, these goals are being achieved? And so the participants here today will be enlightened on how that will be done. And as a working committee on a group, we will convene to continuously examine how best can we ascertain that indeed the work we've done today does not fall on deaf ear, but rather it informs our national efforts and the changes occurring.
But the workshop wouldn't be possible without the help of UNICEF, who pitched in to bring in 2 consultants from the Caribbean. For UNICEF, it is an important step as they continue to advocate for children. In fact, their multiple indicator cluster survey, which was released late last year, states that, quote, "It is well recognized that a period of rapid brain development occurs in the first 3 to 4 years of life, and the quality of home care is the major determinant of the child's development during this period," end quote. Denise Robertou is the Early Childhood Development and Education Officer at UNICEF.
For UNICEF, this means that the government of Belize, our partners, and all other organizations that work with women and children will have a national framework for parenting later on. The Conventions of the Rights of the Child speaks to a child being ensured of care, protection, and potential survival development right through from early childhood to adolescence. And all of the work that involves parenting covers many various issues. Our recent multiple indicator cluster survey spoke to the issue of about 70.5% of children nationwide in Belize reporting that they were disciplined in some violent form or behavior. 70.5% is very high. And we at UNICEF work with our partners, mainly the government of Belize, to look at initiatives and policies that would help to have a great environment for children to be nurtured and for children to develop.
And while in the subject of UNICEF, it is very important to note the current situation of children in Belize as recorded by UNICEF's situation analysis.
Some of our children are coming from homes where the parents are not as supportive. I do not think that it is because they don't want to support, but because they might not have the know-how.
We've been having regular parent education workshops with individual centers. And we don't only target the parents of the children going there, but we ask the teachers to to canvass the community, look for parents, young parents, prospective parents, grandmothers, or grandfathers, whoever we could reach.
If you invest early in terms of stimulation, in terms of adequate nutrition, in terms of adequate school readiness, that child will have greater returns. That child will stay in school. That child will have a better quality of learning. That child will grow up to be a productive citizen.
Parents have to learn that we are the role models.
The Minister of Human Development, Anthony Martinez, also emphasized the importance of the workshop.
The workshop is very important in a changing time, especially for parenting. I think that is part of the ills of our society is the breakdown of the family unit. And these days, parenting takes another turn. Like, for example, when I was young, when I would do anything out of the way, my mom would cut the eye out of me. And you know that you do something wrong. You do that now with the children, they want to know if something wrong with your eye. So I think it's a modern time, and I think that it is very important to bring parenting skills up to date, and I think we have the expertise that will be able to do that throughout this workshop.
According to Lopez, there will be documentation of the various facets of the workshop, which includes presentations by consultants, input by stakeholders, including their structured information sheets and others, so that the work put out by the ministry and UNICEF doesn't just end at the Biltmore. Reporting for Love News, I am Natalie Novello.